Well, I'm not sorry to see the end of that. Hopefully the end of that. Now we've got to plug it in and just see if it works as expected. Although it looks flickery on the screen, it's not actually flickery in real life. Looks like, oh, it's hard to tell. They don't have many constant patterns. I'm not sure if we've got a couple of dodgy joints. Seem that these three seem to be slightly different. Maybe not getting the red. That one's obviously not getting something. So a little bit of troubleshooting may be needed. So here we're having a real close-up look at one of the joints that isn't showing the red color LED. The red anode is this pin here. This is the common cathode, and it feels like there might be a slight bridge in there. So we'll see if we can reflow that. I may not be able to do it on camera because my macro setup just doesn't allow me to work very easily. I have to work from an angle. Let's just see if that's done it. Maybe not. We just have to turn this around a bit so I can try and come at it from a different angle. Just had to squirt some flux on. Let's see if that works. Now let's move on round. I marked another position that wasn't working very well. Again, it's the red. But that seems okay. And it's the same, the third one. Let me just spin you around. The third one was this one. I haven't done anything to this one because the red anode looks just fine. I don't know what's going on with that one. But everything looks okay with that. Joint looks okay. So the only other thing just to double check is our integrated circuit. That's not a great joint. Yeah, that end one. It looks like it's made, but I might have to double check that one. Just give it another little blast. Let me just hand hold this, and then we can hopefully have a good look at those joints. They all seem like they're made okay. A bit of a gap there, didn't get that one quite pressed down. So I'll remake that pin. There's another one that looks dodgy. Let's see if I can mark that one. That's the fifth pin down. Nope, next one up. Just doesn't look like it's fully made. Sorry about the focus on this. I might just remake those top ones. Just give me a moment and I'll be back. So we might have found a suspect. This little resistor. You can see one end, the solder has flowed nicely up onto it. The other end, looking a little bit dry. And it's kind of hard to make out, but I think, let me just see if I can adjust the light. Adjust the light down, you might just be able to make out, if I can get my pointer in. The track for that comes through. It's hard to make out in the white. I think it comes through to the red. I think. But for sure, that joint is looking a little dodgy. So we'll see if we can just give that a wee bit of a fix. Just flooded far too much flux onto this. Good. And we'll see if we can work. This is very, very awkward to work in. I will give you I'll take a picture in a minute and show you exactly what it's like for working in. So that has done the trick. It was just that resistor was causing those three LEDs that I'd sort of marked on here to not function. So that's really good. So it is working. I'm very glad I don't have to rework any more of those LEDs. So next up we'll be putting this into a case. So before I built this kit, I actually used just the PCB, measured it up and then modelled in Fusion 360 a case for it. This is the prototype case. I have the lid here, which is just a dome that fits over it. It's a bit rough. It's not been printed very accurately and also hasn't been cleaned up, but it's just a prototype. I've got the lights turned down a bit so that you can see kind of the effect of it working there. But good thing I have printed a prototype, because it's highlighted a couple of adjustments that need to be made. The first one is in with the plug coming into it. As you can see, there's only just clearance for that, but I think once that gets sat down, I need to get a bit more of this area cut out. Also, the other adjustment that needs to be made, if I just unplug this, as you can see, it sits down nicely at this side, sits in, but on this end not so much. And if you can see there, just behind that USB, we have our capacitor. I didn't take into account the height of that capacitor. In fact, I may not be able to, I may have to increase the entire depth of this. It may just fit, but I'll have to make a hole for that in the base, a recess for it. So I shall model that up, print out another prototype. So here we have the first prototype, base and lid, just printed out of plain white PDKH filament. And then this is the refined Mark II base, a bit deeper. Remember, we had this problem that this wouldn't sit down because the capacitor is sticking out at the bottom. So that was not deep enough, so we made the base a little bit deeper. Now that fits in there nicely. Circuit board is just flush there with the top. And then I printed a second dome. This time this is, believe it or not, this is transparent PETG filament, but because it's more than one wall thickness and because it's not printed perfectly, it's a bit more opaque. But I'll show you the differences now. If I just turn this light down, so we'll put the original one on first, or the prototype one, so you can see, you can sort of see the patterns. This is just a repeating pattern that's going through, so you can see. And then if we compare that using the transparent filament, just transmits a little bit more light through it. I don't know, I may print out another one but a little bit thinner, but you get into the problem there that it becomes a bit flimsy. This one I already thickened it up slightly from the original because this is just very, very flimsy, whereas this has got a bit more substance to it. Little cutout, that is for being able to access the touch, to be able to change the program. As you can see, you're able to change the program, and then it screws through from underneath. And that's pretty much this project done. All the links will be in the description below for the Thingiverse page, which will have these files, not just the STLs. I include the Fusion file as well if you want to make changes or adapt it for your own use. Feel very much free. If you do use it and adapt it, please leave a comment in the video below to say what you've done. I'd be interested to see what you do with this. But we thank you very much for watching along with this one. It's been an enjoyable project. A nice little nightlight that is going to be a nice feature